there's a bunch of stuff in the news about mutations of the virus in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
I also saw in South Africa something, maybe that was yesterday. You just kind of mentioned about stability and so on. Which aspects of this are mutatable and which aspects, if mutated, become more dangerous? And maybe even zooming out, what are your thoughts and knowledge and ideas about the way it's mutated, all the news that we've been hearing? Are you worried about it from a biological perspective? Are you worried about it from a human perspective?
So, I mean, mutations are sort of a general way for these viruses to evolve, right? So it's essentially this is the way they evolve. This is the way they were able to jump from one species to another. We also see some recent jumps. There were some incidents of this virus jumping from human to dogs. So there is some danger in those jumps, because every time it jumps, it also mutates, right? So it when it jumps to the species and jumps back,
Yeah.
right? So it acquires some mutations that are sort of driven by the environment of a new host,
Yeah.
right? And it's different from the human environment. And so we don't know whether the mutations that are acquired in the new species are neutral with respect to the human host, or maybe damaging.
Yeah, change is always scary. But
Yeah.
so are you worried about? I mean, it seems like because the spread is during winter now seems to be exceptionally high, and especially with a vaccine just around the corner already being actually deployed, there's some worry that this puts evolutionary pressure, selective pressure on the virus, for it for it to mutate. Is that a source of
Yes.
worry?
Well, I mean, there is always this thought, in the scientist's mind, what will happen, right? So I know there've been discussions about sort of the arms race between the ability of the humanity to get vaccinated faster than the virus,
Interesting.
essentially becomes resistant to the vaccine. um i I mean, I don't worry that much, simply because there is not that much evidence to that.
To aggressive mutation around a vaccine.
Exactly. Obviously there are mutations around the vaccine. There are vaccines. So the reason we get vaccinated every year against the
It's
seasonal
because there's
flu,
mutations.
right? But I think it's important to study it, no doubts, right? So I think one of the to me, and again, I might be biased, because we've been trying to do that as well. But one of the critical directions in understanding the virus is to understand its evolution, in order to sort of understand the key mechanisms that lead the virus to jump, the Nordic viruses to jump from species to another, that the mechanisms that lead the virus to become resistant to vaccines, also to treatments, right? And hopefully that knowledge will enable us to sort of forecast the evolutionary traces, the future evolutionary traces of this virus.